Alright, we got top 30 best Isekai anime of the century, 2000 to 2024. I'm actually really excited to see this video of all my favorite Isekai year because I'm a really huge number one fan of Isekai. That's pretty much everything I watch. So let's just check it out.
It seems to me that Isekai has been one of the genres that modern anime has been known or notorious for. There's a lot of them, and I
There's
mean
a chance
a
I
lot.
maybe I've
Things
watched
seem to have
all of
reached a
them,
head
but
back in the mid-2010s when there seemed to be half a dozen of them every anime season. Things have slowed down a little bit, but we can't deny
yeah.
the impact the genre's had in the past decade or so. But what are the best ones? The most influential ones? The most popular ones? Today's list aims to give my opinion on some of these titles from the genre that have had a
Oh,
lasting
I'm
impact
not gonna
on the
agree
anime
on some of
industry.
them.
How a realist hero rebuilt a kingdom is at number 30.
Watch it. Those things are nice, but you get boring after once in a while because this type
Relatively
of
niche,
anime is
wanting to
pretty
show that went
boring.
under the
Like,
radar
it's
even
not
when it was
really any
airing. This
action. It's
is,
more
in
like a
my opinion,
political
one of the
thing.
landmark representatives of a subgenre that has shown some potential. Kingdom building typically eschews the usual superpowers and the fighting in favor of what it says on the tin. Kingdom building and putting the stakes in the more political, economical, and the social side of things. That much can be seen in this show, which makes it a rather unique viewing for the usual anime fan who's accustomed to battle shonen or rom-coms. Realist hero isn't free from things like the harem tropes and the long-winded dialogues, mind you. Regardless, this could be a good introduction to the subgenre and a test of whether it's for you or not. Number 29 is Arifureta.
Great anime. One of my favorite ones as well. I'm actually a little bit disappointed that it's that low,
This is
but
a new collection, and oh my goodness.
yo, why I'm gonna get
Stop
sponsored by Jim
adding
Shark,
in
bro?
proper scrunch. These
And here's
Great one.
something a lot more popular. Arifureta has been one of the gateways to this certain brand of edgy, weak to overpowered isekais with a dash of revenge plot. It plays everything by the book, with the overpowered protagonist, the angsty plot, the harem, and of course, the fights that serve to showcase how awesome our characters are. In a lot of ways, it's popcorn entertainment, as I like to call it. But I'll give credit on how the world and its story does get a lot more engaging over time, expanding past the initial premise of a revenge plot and giving us an underdog story set in an interesting world. Season 1 has had laughably bad
It's
production,
cold-blooded
the
as
rest of the
well.
story,
It's
the
pretty
second
artless.
season
Don't forget
improves
that.
on that by more than a mile.
Great
We've got more
anime.
seasons coming our way, and
Why
that's
is it that
expected
low,
from one of the more
bro?
popular stories in the genre.
There's no way it's that low.
So I'm a Spider. So What is at number 28. If what attracts you to Arifureta is not the edgy but the whole underdog tale of someone going from weak to strong, this spider isekai could be an alternative to consider. As a sarcastic bonus, it also suffers from the CG issues that have plagued Arifureta.
Saw the
although to a
trailer,
much
but
less
there's
degree.
no way
Kidding
this is
aside,
better
though,
than the
So
last
I'm a
one, bro.
Spider
Come
does
on,
have a
bro.
share of
That's
charm, mainly from the
disrespectful.
plucky main character
That's
who is a
mad
joy to watch. It
disrespectful.
also emphasizes the
I do
RPG
not
drive,
agree on
which
that
has been
one,
a
bro.
main selling point of the genre, it seems. I mean, it's not exactly a shining example of a top isekai, but if you want something to pass the time, this is certainly one
How
of
you
the
gonna
better
put
shows
this
to do it on.
above?
It's a
Oh
pretty
my
fun
gosh,
casual watch
bro.
at the end of the day.
Nah, but you lost me on this one, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. You're a grown ass man. Come on, bro.
Problem Children Are Coming From Another World is at 27.
Oh, I saw this great anime as well.
Teen rebels get transported into a vibrant world where everything is decided by games. They get a lot of shine while being accompanied by a fan service bait girl who's had more than her share of klutziness. No, it's not the show you're likely thinking of for 27, but it may as well have been a prototype. Probably Children is an anime from 2013 that takes viewers into the colourful world of Little Garden. It's quite the underrated show for 2013 standards, if you ask me, actually.
I was
They
so
also
confused when I
classify
saw
it
the
as popcorn
anime, bro. The
entertainment as
blonde
well,
dude,
but
I
it
had
does
no
pull
idea
off
it
its
was that
awesome
strong,
moments
bro.
really well, especially with a
I was
protagonist who has the
confused. I was
power
like,
to
where that
nullify
power
others'
coming from?
powers. The cool ways he gets used to the power is something to watch out for. Sadly, the series has the weird distinction of only having 10 episodes. It's a
Yep.
passable adaptation, but it's one of those
Really
titles that really
fast.
makes me wish it got a sequel. '26th on the list is something that's pretty dear to my heart. Recreators.
Yeah, I got scared. I thought it was not recording.
Being being a person who's
Saw
engaged
this
in the
trailer as
creative
well.
side of things before, Recreators and its
Never
premise
watch it
is
though.
one that I had personal attachments to. It's pretty cool to think of your own creations coming to life and doing battle in the world we live in, and that setup hooked me immediately. Stepping back and looking at the
Actually,
show
never
from
mind.
an
I watch
objective
a little
lens, though,
bit.
however, I still think that it's one of the more
Then finish
ambitious
it.
and creative reverse isekais from the past decade or so. Backed with an amazing soundtrack and pretty nice action, it explores some really interesting themes. Unfortunately, what could have been a hit of the year 2017 kinda lost its way towards the end. Still, a show with the potential to be great ending up being a decently popular show that's good isn't that bad when you think about it.
Wait, does Fate nah, Fate is not Isekai, right? No, it's different. It's a completely
One
different
of the newer
genre.
titles on the list is
Genre.
at 25, World's Finest Assassin.
Yup. The fuck?
Something that enthralled anime fans in the year 2021 is this isekai.
That was in 2021.
It's still a guy
God
who died and got
damn, bro.
reincarnated, but this time,
Felt like it was
instead of
last
the
year.
overused neat teenager who's very much in tune
Time
with
is
geek
flying,
culture,
bro.
It's a grizzled veteran assassin, a no-nonsense
shit.
hitman whose skills in the real world may just prove to be what's needed for the task the goddess assigns of him, to defeat the previous summoned hero who has turned rogue. But of course, he reincarnates into an overpowered boy who got some female companions to help him out on his mission. However, it's not the typical harem setup that we've all come to experience.
Yeah,
There's
it's
certain
completely
depth to our
different.
protagonist's
It's not
loose
really based
relationship with
on
safe
romance.
companions.
More
World's
like
Finest Assassin is also
trusting his
regarded as one of
companion
the
and killing
isekais where
people.
The anime just pushes the source material up to a new level. It's definitely a show that I didn't regret picking up, and speaking from an anecdotal basis, it was the surprise of its season.
Level up your gaming space with metal posters from Displays. Hang your display.
We turn to the classics for number 24, Familiar of Zero.
really good anime as well. Pretty funny as well too.
Familiar of Zero is one of the pillars, I'd say, of the trend of domineering Shana clone shows that put Kugimiya on the map back in the 2000s. In this one, she stars as an incompetent mage who summons the male protagonist in her world. Hilarity ensues, with comedy, ecchi, and a lot of the silliness that you could infer from simply giving the show a glance. Interestingly, the show does carry a bit of political intrigue, and the budding relationship between the two leads made this a rather popular anime for its time. Familiar of Zero is something that you can take a look at for a second and infer its age. It is a product of its time, back when Isekai hadn't taken over the anime world, and a lot of anime liked toying around with a tough, violent tsundere dynamic for its leads. At number 23, we have Cautious Hero. The cool thing, which in my opinion helps give Isekai its longevity, is just the number of ways you can give it twists. Sure, the
Oh,
end product probably
this is
leads
one-
to the
this
same
one's a great
overpowered hero
one.
defeating the Demon Lord. But for some people, it's the journey, most importantly the start of it, that matters the most. That's much like Cautious Hero, where it's not the hero actually emerging victorious that's the main selling
But
point.
the end was a little bit
It's not
sloppy,
making
bro.
works for it to the point of OCD. Along with a butt monkey goddess spearheading the charge, Cautious Hero is a light-hearted isekai that will leave you in stitches. Then you eventually learn that there's more to these characters that they let on early on, and then you would have found yourself very invested in this anime. Cautious Hero runs on a simple concept, a premise that can be summed up in one sentence, yet does a remarkable job at making it entertaining. It's not without its flaws by any means, but it continues to be an amusing watch in spite of those. Grimgar is number 22 on the list.
Watch it as well.
Grimgar was a show that I was excited to watch back when it aired. It was mainly the source material art that drew me in, and when the first episode rolled, it wasn't exactly what I expected. I want to preface that Grimgar is not exactly the type of show that would break out in the mainstream, but that's fine. The anime selling point is its huge emphasis on
They
the
did a really
characters and
good
slowly
job, bro.
developing them in the world with emphasis on the latter. It starts pretty slow and can definitely be considered something that's not everyone's cup of tea. Everything does pay off eventually though, and what you get is an isekai that challenges the norms of the genre when it comes to execution and pacing. Whether the end product is worth the wait is for you to decide. Regardless, I think it deserves its flowers for how
I don't even
heavy
remember how
and
it
slow
ended.
world building
Just
is.
remember that the dude, that dude died, bro. Not this one, the other one, but And main character is
21st
assassin
entry is
type.
Shield Hero.
でお前そんなこと
21?
仲間じゃ
Interesting. First
I remember
episode
Shield
was a
Hero was one of the most
masterpiece. The rest,
anticipated
fumble.
adaptations back then, and how could it not be? With its very engaging
Great
us against
anime,
the
though.
world premise and the potential with a character
Okay,
who uses
Sword
a
Art
shield
Online
or
need to be
traditional
on this.
weapons typical
A
of
lot
the
of
genre.
people don't
Boy,
like
did
it, but the
stir
first
up
season
when
was
anime
a
adaptation
fucking
hit the screens. It was
masterpiece,
the
bro. I need
talk
to
of
see it
the
on the
town,
list,
and
but
people
come on,
were
bro.
really drawn into the
If
story
I don't
of
see
revenge
Sword
and
Art
redemption.
Online, bro,
Shield Hero is a title that I
I'm
often
gonna
put
be
alongside
really
Life
mad,
Forever,
bro.
as both are tales of rising from betrayal and overcoming the challenges the world throws at you, just with different approaches when it comes to their protagonists. Shield Hero's engaging narrative and pretty good production values make it something that deserves its hype. So much so that the sequels don't get within an inch of living up to the impact of the first season now
Wait.
that the revenge plot
No,
has been
Sword Art
dealt with.
Online is not
Shows
really
turn
Isekai, is
more
it?
by
Is
the book
it?
Isekai. Shield
I
Hero
mean,
is
maybe
what I
a
would
little
consider
bit. I
a
don't know.
first season wonder.
Maybe
Its
I
impact
should
towards
not
the end
be.
of the previous decade was something to behold. At number 20, we have Sunny Boy.
Never heard of it.
Sunny Boy is quite the unique watch, if I'm honest. People have called this anime something that's similar to Drifting Classroom. They say it's surrealist and people have
Makes
called
sense.
it weird. Frankly, I think it's part of the charm, with it providing an experience far different from what isekai viewers typically expect out of the genre. It's similar to what I said about Realist Hero, only this time the focus is driven even further away from action and straight to charismatic characters and their relationships they have with each other. Add in some powers that help define them and allow them to get through the challenges presented by the dimension they find themselves in, and you have yourself a very interesting, albeit quite confusing and complex, take on the isekai genre. It is really an anime that showcases the potential of the isekai genre and the kind of tales that can be woven out of it. It doesn't exactly have to be action-adventure, and it doesn't have to be political charged either. Hailing from the year 2009, we have the number 19th entry on the list, Tenchi Muyo Wo on Gemina.
Bro, I'm not a fan of
franchise
those
dating back to the 90s. It's why I found it surprising that it got a spin-off OVA in the late 2000s.
sci-fi
and isekai
anime,
wasn't
bro.
there. And looking back at what the franchise had, War on Gemini is one of the better spin-offs. Of course, that doesn't have anything to do with the story, which feels pretty generic, yet remains quite
Wait.
enjoyable for the most part. At least it tries with what seems like an underlying plot of conspiracy to keep you anticipating what happens
Never
next.
mind, I'll watch
What I
it.
really like about
Never
War on
mind.
Gemini, being someone
Yeah, I'll
who's
watch it.
moderately exposed to Tenchi Muyo, has to do with how it has the strongest art direction the franchise
I'll
has
watch
had.
it.
While
Never mind.
perhaps not too often
This
you
one
get
is
a
actually
harem
pretty
where you
good.
find all the girls likable, but this is one of those cases where that holds true, personally speaking. The Tenchi universe is niche, but this can serve as a nice gateway anime into it. For number 18, we have what can be considered a reverse isekai on our hands,
Gate. Oh yeah. Watch it.
It's the clash of medieval armies against superior modern technology in this 2015 hit. Gate is quite the interesting isekai, as it runs with the premise of
army.
the other world invading Japan before flipping to the Japanese military intervening in the other world's affairs. Warfare, battles against fantasy creatures, and political intrigue galore. That's what I tell you to expect out of Gate. Oh, and of course the mandatory ensemble of female companions with their individual quirks and stories. Gate is a fun watch. It's a bit ham-fisted with the military themes, but it's also pretty cool seeing modern weaponry and politics clash with the medieval settings that serve as an isekai staple. The definitive reverse isekai, however, is our number 17th anime, Devil is a Part-Timer.
Yeah, like I said, I already watched majority of those animes, bro.
One of the brightest up-and-coming shows in the early 2010s, Devil is a Part-Timer has a simple premise. The hero and the Demon Lord's final battle gets interrupted, and the two got sent into our world where they must learn to live as one of us while juggling both supernatural threats and the merciless toils of normal human life. Nevertheless, it makes for a very engaging anime, thanks to the strength of its characters and how it balances
I didn't even
serious
finish
and
the last
comedic
season.
moments. It's one of the anime most people
I
can't
got
wait
bored.
to
It
have
got
a second
boring,
season.
bro.
Arguably, the luster had worn off a fair bit after a decade of waiting, and the reception to the source material's ending but the second season still retains a bit of charm that made the first season such a hit. The first season's a surefire winner either way.
おめえも悪魔大元帥なら潔く覚悟を決めろ。悪意しわれ。
As we approach the halfway mark, we take a look at Tsukimichi. Things don't always go our way, whether it be fair or not. The moment Makoto finds himself sent to another world, he meets a goddess that quickly sends him off to the middle of nowhere, far from the reaches of humanity. Luckily, his journey and his sheer power draw various denizens of the world to him, and with his new companions, it's up to him to reach fellow humans and reform society. Tsukimichi is a show that has really strong world building for something that primarily markets itself as a comedy. It does carry some strong meme energy,
There's a
along
lot
with
of
power
good
fantasy
action in that
aspects that it
shit.
looks to parody. For something that seemed trophy with an added twist or two, I was quite surprised at how well everything came together and worked, plain and simple.
必中をなす。この矢は必ず当たる。
Meanwhile, hit that like button if you've been enjoying this list so far, as it would help the channel so much while just taking a few seconds.
so
of your
far
time.
this list has been legit, bro.
Kingdoms is up next. Here's something from the early 2000s when
Lagging.
Isekai wasn't as prevalent. It was a
What's going on?
Once
time when
everything's
high episode-
perfectly organized, I'll start working on my
counts felt like the norm, and medieval game aesthetics and broken protagonists.
Never watch it.
Define Isekai. 12 Kingdoms looks like a product of its time, harkening to classics like Escaflowne with its fantasy kingdoms and the social and political implications of the way they're run. It didn't start off in a snappy, impactful manner that would have drawn people in, but
That's
sticking
an
with it
old
for a few
anime.
episodes proved to be very rewarding. 12 Kingdoms has strong storytelling and world-building aspects to it. If you found yourself tired of the colourful or uber-dark aesthetics in Isekai, or the tropes that modern takes on the genre just can't be without. If you want something more traditional, more classical fantasy type of deal, then 12 Kingdoms and its 45 episodes ought to give you a lot to enjoy. Welcome to the Demon School. Iruma-kun is at number 14. Demon School Iruma-kun doesn't exactly stand out if you just take a look at the cover. The plot of a boy getting sold to the demon Sullivan who raises him as his grandson is nothing too special either. There's a sort of juvenile aura to the show, but giving it a shot is something that I don't regret in the least. At the end of it all, Demon School Iruma-kun is something that people of all demographics can enjoy. It's got some decent comedy,
Bro,
colourful
watching
world
this
building,
clip made me
enjoyable characters, and a certain
made
charm
me
that you just
want to
feel once you
restart
immerse
watching
yourself
this
into
my
the show.
favorite
There's some
manhwa,
major
bro. I don't
wholesome
know
vibes
why.
with this anime, and I found it something you can easily pick up and just casually watch.
Might need to react to the
At
best
13 is
manhwa of the
Uncle
century
from
as
Another
well.
World.
I saw some clip of it, but I'll never watch it though.
This is one of the more recent shows that I vaguely remember got hit with a lot of broadcast delays. It's truly unfortunate at that time because in terms of comedy and self-aware subversions, this is one title that does really well. Uncle from Another World really knows it's a parody. It knows it's a show that finds its strength in comedy and exaggeration, and the results are nothing short of brilliant.
Whoa.
It's peak comedy, and it more than suffices with how much it goes on its supposed selling points, all while giving us the figurative camera wink. It was one of the hidden gems of its times, and I do think that more people should give this a shot if they're up for some good old self-aware comedy. Number 12 is
What the
Drifters.
fuck? Watch it. Really good anime.
Drifters is an anime that emphasizes the rule of cool. A dark fantasy story with historical figures coming together for some good high-octane action is what epitomizes the show if you're to ask me. That's not unexpected considering this is an anime that is also from the Hellsing creator, and you all know how that went. It's really a show that thrives on the way it presents its action, full-blown violence that doesn't hold back. All the while, there's some comedy to keep things relatively light-hearted every now and then, and it's up to you whether you enjoy this tonal shift with your dark fantasy story. Personally though, I give this anime that I can equate to an action flick a thumbs up. All this time, Drifters remains one anime that seriously needs a sequel. A true one, not the 2-episode OVA that we got.
Damn.
Like having a break from all the fighting, Ascendance of a Bookworm will be a perfect match for you.
私、間違いなく死んだよね。それとも死ぬ間際に変な夢でも見てるとか？
Ascendance of a Bookworm takes the Isekai genre through yet another twist. Here we have a main character who's neither a badass action hero nor a caricature, a parody of the tropes that we all love to have some laughs from. We have a pretty chill series in comparison, a slice of life that's sure to give anime fans a slightly different flavour of the genre. It's more attuned to being wholesome, and it allows fans to settle in and have some relaxed times in the world our protagonist finds herself in. It's one of the best Isekai out there with respect to just how underrated it seems to be. You don't really hear a lot of people talk about this besides the more hardcore.
Don't get me wrong,
fans,
those are good anime, but I just don't understand how they would be so high in the list. But again, that's his personal opinion.
Shift of tone, our journey to the top 10 starts
Great
with Saga
anime
of
as well.
Tanya the Evil.
Great anime as well. I need to watch it again, actually.
Relaxing and chill are definitely not words we can use to describe this military isekai. Your salaryman protagonist dies and gets reincarnated. Because the god of this world doesn't like him, he gets thrown into an alternative world, reincarnated as a girl and facing the dread of war. You can pretty much guess how the rest goes, as well as the themes get emphasized in this popular anime. It is in fact a dream for any fan looking to have a taste of the edgier and darker side of the genre. It's
Maybe I understood why they decided to change him into a woman, though.
Fans either love it,
that's what I don't
or
understand,
hate it,
but
and there's not a lot in between from what I can see. Whether for
great
good or bad,
anime,
there's a
though.
lot of buzz surrounding this show that could be felt years even after its initial 2017 airing. It's not close to a generic isekai by any means. And if
Nah,
you're the type
no
into
at
a
all,
story
bro.
with
Not
great
even
morality,
close.
some strategic fights, and the theme of rising up
When I
against
saw
the
it, I
odds,
was
this
shocked,
is
bro. I was
right
like,
in your
God
element.
damn, animation is great, fighting style is great. Everything's
For our
just
number 9
great, bro.
spot, we have The Boy and the Beast.
Never watch it. Saw some clip of it, though.
The Boy and the Beast is a movie that I didn't hear many people talk about back in 2015, but being a fan of Mamoru Hosoda and his movies, I gave it a shot and found myself experiencing a rather solid movie. It's rife with great visuals, a simple yet engrossing plot, and heartwarming scenes, and it should evoke comparisons to the more mainstream family movies Japan has given us. The crux of the plot isn't anything new, being a coming-of-age story with a young protagonist who's torn between two worlds, but it nevertheless just hits us hard. Got to admit that it lacks the it thing, whether emotionally or visually, to make it truly stand out and garner much acclaim, but as far as a movie about traveling between worlds and how beings from different worlds should get along fine, it does get the job done. The Boy and the Beast serves to be a good palate cleanser if you find yourself wanting to watch a movie about multiple worlds, but also find yourself weary of the fan service, the edginess, or the standard overpowered
Fan service?
anime.
There's fan service in this shit? Surprised there's fan service in that shit.
I cannot believe I'm stood here saying this.
This dude is part of Steam Shark? Ain't that the dude that throw the phone every time, bro?
In the 8th spot, we have Overlord.
Overlord is pretty good. Overlord should be number 1, baby. Come on, bro. See? Now I'm gonna be that guy. And I'm gonna tell you every anime that I feel like should not be above Overlord from now on, because this is the top 10. Overlord is one of my favorite isekai anime, bro.
It got quite the buzz before due to its dark
I'm gonna be
take on the
petty
trapped
now.
in a game storyline and the type of protagonist it
100%
features.
will be.
However, I do think that Overlord's strength is that there's a whole lot more to Ainz, something that we learn as the story goes on. It's a character-driven story, and I think that's where its core appeal lies, besides the charismatic characters, of course, and the world that has been wonderfully brought to life by Madhouse. It may be easy to pass off as one of those overpowered protagonists, isekais, due to how stupidly broken Ainz gets and how he's willing to flex all that power, but I dare say there's a lot more to Overlord than the cool factor that first meets the eye. Reincarnated as a slime is at number 7.
And they put this at number 7?
This is the king
Okay.
of the weak to strong stories in modern isekai, if you ask me. Even if
I
it
can
plays the
complain.
genre beat straight and feels more stereotypical at first glance, reincarnated as a slime proves that you don't exactly need fancy gimmicks to try to set yourself apart in order to be one of the more entertaining shows out there. All you need is a good protagonist for the fans to latch onto, some epic fights, and a colourful cast of characters to give
Well,
life
they
to the
put,
colourful
bro,
world that the
they
story
put
is
those
set
two
in.
unknown
Throw
on
in
the
some
top
aspects of
10.
kingdom building in this adventure, and you've got yourself
I
a
wonder
really
what's
fun and
above this
engaging
then.
tale that's good for multiple seasons and a whole lot of popularity. Slime doesn't try to reach for the fancy or the shocking, but it may just be what we need in this world where everything's trying so hard to be unique or a parody. Sixth is Sword Art Online.
So it is considered
If one thing
isekai.
SAO is, it's being at the right place at the
I'm
right
not
time.
complaining.
Around the time of its first
Nice.
season, we were at the cusp of some technological breakthroughs with gaming and the internet. Then here comes this anime with a gripping premise and a cool protagonist at a time when the big mainstream hits are slowly winding down and you get one of the biggest anime phenomena of the 2010s.
First season
Much
was
has been said
insane,
about
bro, but
SAO
I don't know
and
what
its
happened
decade of
after that,
popularity,
bro.
But I think one thing that often gets understated is how the series does a great job of maintaining consistency in its themes. The death game's never the point, and it's always been about how the real and the virtual intersect, something you see in its various arcs. Still, SAO has its fair share of issues, mostly related to the protagonist and the fan service, that make it such a polarizing topic and prevent it from reaching the heights something like, say, Attack on Titan has reached. But one
Yeah.
can't deny the influence it had on pushing us into the era of isekai's
And
peak
putting
popularity.
him just, they were just throwing like people at us, bro. Like at one point, bro, like some random shit. Too many things
Here
at
in
the same
top
time.
5 with Eminence in Shadow.
Okay. All right. See, top right now he's just going crazy. You know what I'm saying? I ain't complaining. You know what I'm saying? I'm not complaining, bro.
If there's
It's
a
going
recent show
crazy.
that ended up being way better and more popular than I ever expected it to be.
Still a
Eminence
bit
in Shadow
spectacle
is
about that
show.
spider at the
Everything
beginning,
had
but
the hallmark of it for being a cult hit, but for everything to blow up like
nice.
this, I didn't see that coming. I do
Can't
think
agree
this may
more
be
than
due to
this,
how
bro.
well Eminence in Shadow embraced the memes and its strengths in irony and parody. It's something that's meant to be cringe, but when you take a closer look at it, there's quite a lot to unpack. It's got a whole lot of genuinely awesome moments for one, and while it took a while to get going, it soon turns into something that you just can't turn off. Maybe due to the absurdity of things or how you've unwittingly found yourself attached to the characters. It's a parody that's more than what it sells you on, and that's how it became one of the bigger hits in the past few years. Granted, it's not something for everyone, but for those right in the target market, it's nothing short of awesome.
I need more.
I am atomic.
魔力
Following that up is Konosuba.
That's his personal
Now for a
opinion.
slightly different
So
flavour
I
of parody.
guess because
Like
this
Eminence in
is
Shadow,
really
Konosuba
different
is a
one. This is
parody
more like
isekai,
of the
but it
goofy
eschews the
side
semblance
than
of a plot for an
action
all-in focus
and
on
anything
super
else. But it's a
entertainment.
great
Its
one.
characters
I'm not. Don't
are
get me
more
wrong, but
over-exaggerated molds of
in my
archetypes,
personal
and a lot
opinion, I
of its
would
comedy
definitely
simply
not
goes
put
over
that
the top.
above
Konosuba is the
Sword
anime that is
Sword
here to
Art
show us
Online
how creative anime can
and
be
the
with
others, bro. Like
references and plays
I
around
would
with
put because
cliches,
personally
giving us
I'm more
multiple
into
seasons and a movie,
action
nothing
than
but
just
laughs.
goofy
And the main
things.
quartet are just the perfect type of character to
But
make this work.
he
like
deserved to
charm.
be on the
I don't
top 10
typically
though,
describe
but
certain titles as shows where you just turn your
I
brain
would
off
put
and
this
sit
above
back,
the others.
relishing in the
So
madness. But I
that's
think
on me
that
though.
fits Konosuba to a T. Its comedy may be niche at times or
But I can't
downright
complain
degenerate,
though.
but
I
it's
really
all in the
can't.
spirit of fun that only a special breed of anime can give.
Solid list.
Introducing the hide and seek from
Ooh.
Belroy. A traditional wallet
That's
on
a
the
great
outside,
anime
it
just show
hides
as
a few
well.
tricks on the inside. Let's
For our top 3, we start things off with No Game.
Wow,
No Life.
this list is solid, bro. Holy shit.
ここって
Remember Problem Child from a while back? That's what many consider a prototype of one of 2014's most popular anime, No Game, No Life. No Game, No Life revisits a world where everything is ruled by games, a whole plethora of unique ones, but it does put more focus on comedic references and off-the-rails fan service. It's truly popcorn entertainment that someone very attuned to anime culture will
But this one
resonate
as well, I
with.
wouldn't put them
Characters
above
also
the
do their
others.
fair share of carrying interest through the show, with the protagonist twins getting a whole lot of awesome big brain moments to their credit. On another note, the prequel movie No Game, However,
there was a
F-Zero
stop too.
is a huge tonal shift, being a lot more serious, but is
Let me see
undoubtedly
that.
one
Don't
of the best
disappoint me,
anime
bro.
films I've seen in the 2010s. It does deserve a shout out no matter which way I look at it. I still want a second season of the main series.
Do
though.
not disappoint me, bro. What's number 2? Come on. What's number 2 on the list? Please. Give me something good, bro.
Coming in at
Please.
number 2 is Mushoku Tensei.
That's number 2? What's number 1 then?
While SAO undoubtedly helped kickstart the modern isekai craze, Mushoku Tensei is one that laid the groundwork for what we've come to expect.
Yo,
of
what's gonna be
isekai
number
genre,
1, bro?
conventions, character
I'm getting
tropes and
nervous.
the like. At its core, it's a story of growth and redemption entwined with an adventure, a comprehensive story of how Rudius changes.
What
and
the
grows
fuck
as
is
he
this
comes
number
across more
2?
characters and gets to
What's
interact
number
with the
1?
world more. It's also got more outstanding production values, which we don't really see every day. Mushoku
Whoa,
Tensei
what-
has
okay,
the distinction
bro,
of
I
being
was
one
like,
of the best
damn.
adapted isekai out there.
Got
Officially
scared
for
for a
being such an
second.
influential series in the bigger scope of things.
Bro, I'm
The
so
excellent
curious. What's
adaptation
number
production
1,
has
bro?
got to count for something, considering how anime adaptations can often be so hit or miss, especially when dealing with mediums like novels.
What's number 1? Give it to me. Tell me. Show it to me. I want to see it. What's number 1?
Last but not least, we have ReZero.
I won't put this on number 1, bro. It's a great anime as well, though.
ReZero
But I
dotes
guess
on the
this,
idea of the overpowered hero trope
I
and
guess from
examines
now on
the
it's really about
controversial
opinion,
aspects
bro.
of anime, which
I'm not
shows
gonna
like
lie.
Mushoku tend to have a lot
A lot of
of.
people will
Instead,
put
you're
this
pushed
number
into
1.
following the story of a plucky protagonist and see how he works through various pitfalls and deaths in order to reach his happy
I
ending.
personally
Along the
don't
way,
really
you'll
like
see
the
different
anime.
facets of characters and the world all coming together to form a very engaging thriller, one where we quickly get hooked to finding out what happens next. And what I love about ReZero is that at its core, it's still a modern anime. It doesn't make a big fuss about doing away with the tropes and still gives us the magical powers, the waifus,
True.
the convoluted character drama, and the other elements that make anime.
And compared to the other one, the main character is weak.
Overall, I think ReZero is the complete package and deserving of being arguably the best isekai had to offer in this century.
Really solid list, bro. I'm not complaining. Nothing, yeah.